Limewash has been around for centuries. Let's just point out that initial truth. The fact that it's been trending so hard in interior design in the last decade and now kind of trickling down to DIY aficionados tells me one of two things. Number one, Limewash has reached the peak of tray chic. I feel like we've seen it all at this point. Or number two, Limewash has become an instant classic and will never go out of style. In today's video, we're going over the wide appeal of Limewash, its pros and cons, share some of my favorite images of Limewash done so well, also share some not so pretty images, almost like DIY installations gone terribly wrong. By the end of today's video, you will know for sure whether or not Limewash is the perfect finish for your next home project and be able to answer the question, is Limewash dead in 2025? Let's get to it. Hello everyone, I'm Julie, a formerly trained certified interior designer, and on this channel we love to dissect all things home and design. Limewash started trending pretty hard pre and post pandemic. I mean, why is that? While designers have been using these plaster type finishes in their projects for years, why the sudden popularity? I feel like during the pandemic, we had so much time to kind of just sit at home and look for inspiration. This is when we're combing through Pinterest, YouTube, even all of the design blogs and our favorite magazines to look for inspiration on what we can do in our own home. By this point, Limewash is not a new thing. You open Pinterest and all of a sudden there are hundreds, thousands of inspiration images for you to comb through. Because of the recent popularity and the inspiration images being so accessible and so widespread, Limewash is easily one of the most requested finishes for all of my residential projects in like the last 5 years. If you've ever stopped to ooh and ah when seeing spaces plastered in pigments just like this, you, my friend, have just taken a sip of that Limewash Kool-Aid. What is the widespread appeal of Limewash? I think the main appeal of Limewash is that it's not uniform. You know, that perfectly imperfect Wabi-Sabi type of Japandi vibe that was really hot for the last couple of years. That's why I love Limewash. Like, you really can't go wrong. With paint, you get a uniform finish. It's really basic. It's one note. It's one color. So if you're not adding a whole lot to the space, paint can look flat and one note. Limewash has that organic chalky finish that I really love. You know, depending on the color, the hue, it can even look like suede or velvet, and it almost begs to be touched. I love that in a finish. I never feel that way about paint. I never walk up to paint and it's like, oh my gosh, can I feel it? Do I want to touch it? So I want you to think about that quality of a finish as you're introducing it into your home. It's not just about the visual appeal, but how does it make you feel? So here's where we get to all of the pretty finishes. You know, I want to show you a lot of the neutral interiors that you probably come to know and love, but I also want you to see Limewash in like really unexpected spaces. I want you to see a cool palette versus a warm palette. I also want you to see when good trends go bad. I mean, some of these DIY disasters are like absolutely horrendous to me. I know design is clearly subjective. So while I show you these slides, I want you to think about an initial feeling. I mean, what does your gut reaction tell you? This first interior comes to us from none other than Amber Lewis of Amber Interiors. I love her kind of like Southern California, cool, collected, old world aesthetic. All of these interiors are brand new, but they look like they've been there for years. And that's not easy to do. Every time I look at her interiors, I'm like, okay, I love the furniture. I love how everything has a very neutral palette. And then all of a sudden, when you start to dissect some of the finishes, like there's always Limewash, Roman clay, plaster on the walls. That's what lends to its depth. So even though this interior to me is predominantly neutral, I feel like it could use a pop of color here and there. That's so easy to do. Always think about your backdrop before you start injecting all of the fun little extras and accessories. Moving on to this kitchen, I mean, predominantly it's white, right? It's very light, it's very bright, but this is Limewash. You see how that back wall feels so layered, so deep and rich? They've also Limewashed the plaster hood, which is very trendy. I know this feels like a trend, but it's one of those things where when you look back at like old European homes, they have plastered hoods. So while we're borrowing like centuries old design ideas to install in a modern setting, I also want you to think about all of the elements that are surrounding this space and how we can keep it very fresh and contemporary. You've got this distressed wood beam on the ceiling, but you also have very modern finishes. It's only a single color on the base base cabinets, I also want you to notice some of the accessories that they've combined in this space to kind of elevate it and make it feel more modern and contemporary. We've got this black pendant, and then we have this like gilded gold on the interior of the pendant. That gold and that brass element has also been repeated in the sink and the kitchen knobs. I love this space. It's like old world charm meets new age aesthetics. Now we're moving on to this nursery. This is so cute, and it almost even like lends back to those like ancient Roman days with that draped fabric that's become like a statement artwork in this cute little nursery. You'll see that there's like a neutral lime wash that's on the walls, but I also want you to pay attention to the ceiling. They've also lime washed the ceiling in a lighter color. The ceiling is the fifth wall in interior design. So after you've painted all four walls of the perimeter, I want you to take a look up and think, what's another color that we could add to this space that's gonna help kick it up a notch? What's gonna help make this space look like a cohesive design statement instead of just like a blank white ceiling that I left there because I couldn't figure out anything else? A lot of these neutral interiors you might be very familiar with, right? You've got neutral furnishings, some distressed wood. This makes the space feel very zen, very relaxed and calming. But I also want you to pay attention to some of the architectural detailing, the metal finishes, and the lighting that they introduce into this space. If you inject something like matte black or a black finish against light neutral walls, the space feels current, it feels luxurious and modern. Now, if you start adding in some cooler elements like silvers or chrome, or even like a really light blue tinted tile, just like this leach tile in this kitchen, now you're adding another element, another layer to this lime wash. You're modernizing it a little bit more and kind of bringing it out of like ancient Mediterranean times and into the 21st century. Now here's an example of lime wash applied with paint, okay? We see like a really solid color of paint. It's like a beige tan paint that's lining the doors and the casing for the door. This is actually something that I did in my studio right here. This is not lime wash on the walls. This is a paint technique that I added glaze into to mimic the look of lime wash. I mean, why did I do that? Because I'm cheap. I didn't want to spend the money for lime wash, and at the same time, I actually didn't want to commit to the lime wash in the garage because I know that over time, I'm going to want to paint right over it. So even though this is like a lime wash hack, this aesthetic actually even looks like my studio right now. I have this exact same color on my door and trim, and a lot of the dark finishes in here as well. What do you think of neutral lime wash interiors? Can you see this in your own home? I'm going through these next slides and I'm like, dude, I want this. I want this right now. I want this in my own home. I want to wash away all of the white, and I want my home to feel dark and moody. Look how sexy these spaces are. I love this peekaboo dining room, and it's almost like it begs you to come in there and just throw a dinner party, right? The thing that I love about this space is that you know that the common areas are all light and bright. So I'm not saying that you have to commit to like a moody home, a completely black and dark moody home. You can just choose one room. Choose the room in the home that gets the least amount of light, okay? That's a designer's tip for you. And that is where you can apply dark finishes, dark paint, dark lime wash, like a powder room. Look at this powder bathroom. This is actually what I want to do to my husband's bathroom. I don't have the balls to do it yet, but I'm almost there. I feel like after this video, it's gonna give me that kick to like really push forward, power through, and be like, you know what? F it. Let's just drench the entire bathroom in a moody dark lime wash. Or like this. This is so chic. You know, I love lime wash against exposed brick, like a dark charcoaly lime wash like this with like an entire gallery wall filled with all of your instruments. Love this room. I can really see the personality of the homeowner coming through. And those types of spaces are my favorite designs. Here we have another kitchen. It's dark, it's moody. What a stark contrast from that all white kitchen we saw previously, but I love it. Even though it's modern, it's contemporary, I kind of see this for like a single bachelor. And this would probably be that bachelor's powder room as well. It's got a really classic design statement with this like shield-shaped mirror, but it's the gilding that really makes this dark and moody lime wash kind of pop. If we're going back to this kitchen with very low contrast, and then all of a sudden you're looking at this powder bathroom with a little bit more contrast, that's how we're gonna break up all of these moody hues. Here's another A-frame dining room with all dark lime wash. Notice how they carried the lime wash from the walls all onto the ceiling. A designer's trick to make small rooms appear larger or even low ceilings look higher is to paint every single finish in the same color. It's called color drenching. I'm sure you've heard of it. Double drenching is what's hot this year as well, where you'll clad one surface in one color and then drench another color either on top or on adjacent finish. In this space, they've drenched the entire room with this dark lime wash. So when you're thinking about applying lime wash in a room, you can choose to lime wash the walls, the casing, and the doors, but you can also choose a complementary color or the exact base color and paint your trim and doors in that color as well.
I love a good trend, especially when they become a part of my everyday lifestyle and aesthetic. Thank you to FabFitFun for sponsoring a portion of this video. I was so excited to get my first FabFitFun box. A FabFitFun is a lifestyle subscription where you get 6 products per season from top brands across fashion, home, skincare, and more. I love that I get to choose all the exact products that I get in each box to make it fit my lifestyle. These Div sunglasses retail for $89, which is more than you'd paid for the entire box. Next up, we have Beautology Labs 24K Gold Collagen Eye Masks, which are perfect for these tired eyes. I just discovered Bloom Nutrition's Green Stick Packs, which helps to relieve bloat, supports digestion, and promotes energy. It comes in a 12-pack with 3 different flavors, perfect for busy moms like me. If it wasn't for FabFitFun, I never would have discovered Parallel Cycle Support, which is a monthly pack of vitamins designed to sync with your menstrual cycle, ease common menstrual symptoms like bloating, PMS, and mood changes. I am someone who is very minimal with my jewelry. These mini Serena gold hoops from Crystal Hayes are so chic and simple. It's a perfect addition to elevate all my casual ensembles.
I see myself wearing that every day.
And lastly, we have this laptop clutch from Lindsay Albanese, which retails for $89. I don't imagine using this for my laptop at all. It's super sturdy, has 3 pockets, and comes in this lovely herringbone pattern. I'll be using this to house my journal, my daily content calendar, and all of my essentials for grabbing on the go. Each season's box has a value of up to $350, but when you use my code for an annual membership, each box is only $55. Use my code JulieGift for a free gift valued over $200 when you subscribe to a new annual membership at the link below. Or simply scan the QR code that you see on screen. What a deal. Happy shopping, everyone.
Let's take a look back at the history of lime wash and why it's been used for centuries all over the globe. Lime wash dates back to ancient Roman and Mediterranean regions. It's known for its chalky, nuanced texture that creates a romantic old world feel. Lime wash paint is composed of slaked lime, which is created by burning crushed limestone and then mixing it with water to form lime putty. This lime putty is then combined with natural pigments to achieve a variety of colors. The simplicity of its ingredients is one of the reasons why lime wash paints is eco-friendly, non-toxic, and biodegradable with a minimal carbon footprint. The production process consumes less energy compared to synthetic paints since it's only 2 ingredients, making it a more sustainable choice for environmentally conscious homeowners. The paint's alkaline pH also makes it hypoallergenic, which is great for those with sensitivities to allergies. Lime wash paint is highly effective in resisting bacteria and mold growth, which is why the ancient Romans used it. The high pH level in the limestone helps to prevent decay and mold in their interiors. In a modern setting, the antibacterial qualities helps to control odors and insect infestations. If you live in an odor building or an odor home where ventilation is an issue, lime washing those interior walls can keep them dry and mold-free. This makes lime wash the perfect solution for basements or homes with lower levels. In spaces like kitchens and bathrooms, lime wash paint can also act as a natural air filter by reducing odors and carbon dioxide levels, contributing to a fresher and healthier environment. I just want to keep it super simple in layman's terms. The breathability of lime wash allows moisture to evaporate from the walls. This prevents issues like mold and dampness, which is more common in less permeable conventional paints. Lime wash has a very DIY quality to it. It never looks perfect. It almost looks like it has this unique imperfection to it, which is why I love it. You really can't go wrong. The natural earth pigments used in lime wash paints provide a range of colors from lighter, more muted tones to dark and moody hues. This results in a charming old world ambiance that enhances the character of any room. Unlike conventional paint, which can sometimes appear flat and uniform, lime wash paint offers a more dynamic and visually interesting surface. Some formulations of lime wash include fixatives to improve pigment binding and durability, ensuring better adhesion to various surfaces surfaces, which is what makes Limewash so versatile. You can use Limewash on a variety of different surfaces, from drywall or plaster to concrete to stucco, masonry, brick and stone. Think back to ancient Rome or ancient Greece, okay? Limewash actually does best on porous surfaces. But most of the examples that you're probably familiar with today, you've seen Limewash applied directly to a plaster finish or like a drywall. So it's not like it can't be done. It just depends on the layer of depth and texture that you like. Limewash does have its drawbacks, and one of the major pain points for me is that Limewash does have to be reapplied. While Limewash can age beautifully, I've seen Limewash in like centuries-old buildings in Europe, and I love the way they age in patina. But if that old world aesthetic is not your vibe, you have to tread carefully. Limewash does require reapplication over time, especially in high traffic areas. Or if you have a room that is overexposed to moisture, you can actually see moisture beads or water droplets on the finish of the Limewash. So Limewash paint can wear away more quickly than a modern latex paint, but if you seal it, you can prolong its longevity. Although Limewash paint is breathable, it's not water resistant. If you're applying Limewash paint to a kitchen or a bathroom, a place that has high heat, high humidity, gets a lot of moisture, you have to be prepared to add additional layers of Limewash over time or absolutely seal it. You know, back then, Limewash did have a limited color range. You could only use like really bright neutral colors or even dark neutral colors. They didn't have bright additives, but now you can pretty much get Limewash custom matched, just like paint, to any color of the spectrum, which I love. But remember that since Limewash has this layered depth to it, and you have to apply the finish in layers, you're never going to achieve the exact same finish that you had at the beginning. It's not just like a solid color of paint where you can just repaint over like a scratch or a damage on the wall. You actually have to isolate an entire area of that Limewash and let it bleed over to like another square area that you're going to reapply. More color inspiration coming your way with warm palettes versus a cool palette. This is a cute little bathroom alcove from Jake Arnold, who's one of my favorite designers. I really love how he used almost like this clay pigmented Limewash, and he added like a viola marble, which is that heavily veined kind of like red marble. It's Calcutta, it's top of the line, very luxurious, but he's also like kind of brought it down to earth a little bit with some of these mid-tone woods. I really love this space. It reminds me of Kelly Wearstler Santa Monica proper. Now here we have Limewash done in like a dark ochre, almost mustardy hue. It looks so good with like amber lighting and dark espresso furniture. So pay attention to the furnishings that you already have in your home and think of a Limewash palette that you feel can support that color story. I love pink. I feel like pink is so unexpected for Limewash, but when you're putting it against like rattan furniture or even honey oak, all of a sudden it feels very intentional. Like we really wanted to create like a sweet, cute spot, but pay attention to the exact pigment of the hue. This isn't like a bubblegum pink. It's almost like a terracotta clay pink, whereas this dusty mauve pink feels like very high-end, right? The previous room, I could kind of see like a teenager's bedroom, maybe even like a young adult, whereas this bedroom feels like current. I mean, this is like me, mid-40s, right? I love this bedroom with this like little bathroom alcove. I mean, what is this? I love that. I love spaces that make me look a little harder. This is beautiful. I love this office design. This is a commercial space that's very tone on tone. I feel like the designer, Maison Trouvaille, which is Eric Garcia's company, almost chose like the wood first, right? It's like, I want to choose the wood finishing first, and let's pick a Limewash hue that is almost identical to that Limewash color. And then all of a sudden, you're color drenching it with so many different materials and finishes that make it feel like very chic, very high-end. I mean, I can tell this is a very expensive room. Consider your wood finishes when trying to choose a Limewash color. If you have like honey oak, you can choose a Limewash color in like a warm palette. This looks like a red oak or some sort of like redwood, red stain. You can go a little bit redder in your pigments. This one even has like a little orangey tint to it, which I love. So instead of it feeling like too warm, you can add in cool touches with this runner or even some of the decor accessories that you add in. Wow, look at this kitchen. I mean, this kitchen kind of stopped me dead in my tracks. There's a whole lot going on here. This is an AI render rendered space, okay? So even though this doesn't exist, I kind of want you to isolate all of the different elements that are here, okay? We've got a very old world aesthetic. You look up and you already have these like coffered ceilings with the decorative panels that are inset. Already, this feels like a very global design to me. So red here is very intentional. It's very rich. It's very lived in. But I also love how this red Limewash has this dialogue with the red Zalige tile that's on the backsplash, the red marble that's on the countertops. Red is almost neutralized in this interior as a Limewash, but there's so much depth to this room. Whereas look at this yellow space, okay? This is yellow Limewash. It's bright, it's light, it's fun, it's cheerful, but it does feel elevated because some of the materials and the finishes that the designer has used in this space. And speaking of warm autumnal palettes, I want to show you this luxury home that I stayed in a couple of years ago in Thousand Palms. This is Limewash done terribly wrong. You know, we entered this luxury estate, and while every single square inch of it screamed luxury, from the way the estate was set up to all of the different rooms, the finishes were dated. It was so dated. This home needs a 21st century update stat. If you're going to apply Limewash in one space, please don't treat every single wall like it's an accent wall. If you're gonna apply the finish everywhere. The finish isn't smooth, it's not seamless, it almost looks like it has like modeling from room to room. You see how it's like splotchy? The splotchier it is, the cheaper it looks. It's like you didn't pay a professional to do it. I can tell you did this yourself. I also want you to look at these examples as well, okay? These examples, to me, the Limewash color is beautiful. It's the application that I'm having an issue with. They applied it on all the walls and then they forgot the ceiling. Worst off, not only did they forget the ceiling, they painted the ceiling white. That's not intentional design to me. That feels like a design mistake. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, can you imagine this kitchen with just a plain white ceiling? Now look at it with a Limewash ceiling. You know, it feels like a complete design. On the flip side, we've got a cool palette of blues, greens, and grays. Some of these can feel dark and moody. Of course, it really just depends on the pigment and how saturated it is, how tinted it is, which means how much black pigment they add to the actual color itself. But like, here's a really beautiful French gray. I love this. You know, even though I feel like stark cold grays are very like 2010. This feels like a very current gray to me, which is like a grayish color. It's a combination of gray and beige, and that's like my favorite type of neutral. I love this green bedroom. You know, my primary bedroom is now green. I did not Limewash it, but now I feel like I know I owe you this primary bedroom makeover, and I just have like a few finishing touches to do, including what's happening on the walls, okay? Even though I love green, sometimes green paint can feel flat, but this one feels so layered. It feels so deep. It's very imperfect. I have these high vaulted ceilings as well. The only difference is that I have beams in my ceiling. So it's almost like to Limewash the beams or to leave it alone? That is the question. But here we have Limewash, even on panel molding, which I love. The wainscoting on the bottom has been left with just like a solid paint color. But halfway up, they've Limewashed the rest. And I love this. This entire corner just feels like a vibe in its own. Almost like I just want to curl up in this chair and like read a book with like these cafe curtains in the back. It's just a moment. I love this. So here we have this green kitchen. The green kitchen is just a painted cabinet. We've got this really beautiful heavy vein marble that's on the countertop, but I also want you to notice there's Limewash on the walls. It's barely there, okay? It's very, very subtle. It's almost like peekaboo Limewash. Like, do you see me? I'm there. I'm here to elevate the space, but it's not a whole lot. So it almost doesn't like hit you in the face with all this Limewash. It's just like a little kiss of Limewash. Do you like the subtleties of Limewash, or do you feel like it needs to make a larger design statement? So before you decide on Limewash, let's talk about how much it's gonna cost you. A typical gallon of Limewash starts at $30 and can go all the way up to $100 or more. Why that cost variation? It really just depends on the pigment and the manufacturer. If the manufacturer is getting Limewash from a quarry where the limestone is like really expensive, it's very pure, there's not a whole lot of aggregate in it, there's not a lot of additive, then you're going to be paying a premium price because there's more limestone in that gallon of paint. The average cost of labor will depend on the application, the current condition of your walls, how much architectural detailing there is. If you're just painting a really typical 5x7 bathroom with like 9-foot ceilings, my painter charged me almost $1,000 for that tiny little bathroom, okay? Which is why you need to DIY. Take the time to just research some YouTube videos. I mean, there's so many out there. And then just dabble with a little mock-up. You don't even have to paint like an entire room yet. I would just do it on like a piece of cardboard just to kind of get your brush strokes down before you put it in the real thing. Some of my favorite vendors are Pertola paints. I actually use them a lot. Bauwerk Color, Color Atelier, Ferro and Ball. I'm actually going to link them in the description box for you below so you don't have to remember this. I've been designing interiors for almost 2 decades now, and I can even remember from the start of my career, I've always been using plaster. I love the look of Venetian plaster, Roman clay. All of these finishes, including Limewash, just provides like that extra layer of depth that I really love in a space. It adds character. You can choose a variety of different colors, a variety of different types of applications. Depending on the depth of color and the amount of control you like, there is a perfect plaster finish for every type of interior out there. As we move into 2025, the world of interior design is having a growing love for natural finishes, muted colors, sustainable materials. Knowing all this, I feel like Limewash is not going anywhere in 2025 or 2026 and beyond. Homeowners are now looking for fresh new ways to bring character into their spaces, add depth, more texture, with a very accessible DIY aspect to it. So what do you think? Did I make a case for Limewash in 2025? Is this something that you would use in your own home? I'd like to end today's video with this quote. I would like to spend the rest of my days in a place so silent and working at a pace so slow that I would be able to hear myself living. That's a quote from Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of Eat, Pray, Love. And the minute I read that quote, I felt like it was perfect for this video. That's how I feel about Limewash. You know, the minute I look at Limewash, I'm like, namaste. I'm in like total Zen vibes, right? And that's what I want. You know, I'm getting older. I want slow life, slow living. I just want to be very intentional with everything I do. And that includes interior finishing as much as it does furniture and home decor. That's it for today's video, everyone. If you like this type of content, please give this video a like and a thumbs up. Comment below and let me know. Did you see any images today that kind of like stopped you in your tracks? Does it make you think differently about Limewash and whether or not you'll use it in your home? Share this video with anyone you know who's looking for some fresh new ideas for their home designs, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click that little notification bell to be notified of new videos that we drop on the channel weekly. If you love this type of content, you definitely want to check out this video I'm going to link for you right here. It's all about 2025's top interior design trends from A to Z. Limewash was in there, which is why I did a deep dive today. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See you next week.